Alright, peace, beautiful souls, and I hope that everyone is doing well. My name is Saleh, and I'm your host on this channel, brought to you by Celestial Alignments. And today we're going to be discussing a subject that is pretty important. We are essentially going to be talking about how to protect your energy. In a sense, we will be discussing specifically how to protect yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and so I thought it'd be cool, right, to um have this gun in this video. But I realized you don't really need physical protection like that. Like, all you really need is to have your mind and your heart right, you know what I mean? And then yeah, you won't need any weapons or anything like that, for real, for real. So we're not even going to talk about physical protection, because once you have your mind and your heart, aka your emotions and your thoughts straight, then you're gonna be set. You're gonna start to have experiences where you're going to be in danger, but you're gonna be like, yo, I was surrounded by angels. And I'm speaking from experience. First and foremost, it's of great importance to understand what exactly it is that we're protecting. And in a simplified breakdown, for lack of a better term, we're essentially trying to protect our well-being and our peace. Yes, we're essentially going to be discussing how to protect your peace and your well-being. And let me explain like this to you. We exist in many planes, many dimensions. We are multi-dimensional. You exist physically, right? But you also exist mentally. You have a mind, you can think, and you also exist emotionally, right? You can feel things through your soul. Now, your emotions and your thoughts, those aspects of you exist beyond your physical existence, and they existed before you were physically incarnate. So everything that is physically expressed is only a reflection of things that are happening in the spiritual plane. Now, it's important to understand that physically you visit certain locations. You are in a location at the moment, whether you're at your house, at a coffee shop, whatever it may be. Simultaneously, spiritually, you are also traveling. But the thing about your spiritual travels or your mental travels is, when you're traveling mentally, it has nothing to do with your physical body, but everything to do with your states of consciousness, right? States of consciousness. United States of America. But yeah, you're in different states of consciousness. Now, your states of consciousness kind of dictate where you are in the astral plane, right? Or in the spiritual world. It's like we have the United States of America, which we can physically travel to and from, but then we have the mental states of the universe, I guess you can say. I don't know. States of consciousness, right? And look, anytime you are in states of consciousnesses that deal with fear, deal with anxiety, deal with doubt, deal with depression, it's like you are in danger. Because those emotions, those dense emotions that you're going through, in a way transport you into lower vibrations in the spiritual plane. And when you are in these heavy, dense emotions, you kind of start to attract certain spirits, which are demonic, right? And they start to, in a sense, attach to you and do all types of stuff to you, whether that's siphon your energy, right? Or, I mean, it's all going to be siphoning your energy at the end of the day. A lot of the times, though, these lower vibrational entities live through you and essentially fulfill their desires through you, rather, is what I should say. Now, where does protecting your energy come into all of this, right? The greatest thing you want to protect your energy from is those parasites, those parasitic energies that manifest in your mind as foreign thoughts that you may think are yours, but they're not yours. thoughts specifically, you know what I mean? And the fact that we receive certain thoughts from external sources can be revealed by the fact of astrology, in the sense that through certain transits we go through certain emotions and certain experiences. It's Cancer season right now, and I'm in my feelings, I'm in my emotions for sure, and I'm pretty sure a couple of us are in our emotions, in our feelings for sure. But I'm not so deep in my emotions and my feelings that it's uh, debilitating me, right? Depressing me, I guess we can say, because I'm aware that I'm receiving certain thoughts from certain influences that may not, and these thoughts may not always be mine. So, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I accidentally, I accidentally let this off, right? And yeah, it kind of went through this thing it went through a window, and I kind of got real sad and depressed, and like, you know how like when something crazy happens and you're like, yo, this is it, this is the end, like I'm fucked, and like, okay. So I think a couple minutes ago I was in that space, and I was like in my bed, like just laying down. I was like, yeah, in that space. But it's really a spiritual war, you know what I mean? Because it was like I was battling with certain forces within me that were trying to oppress me, type of energy. In the sense that, look, mentally, whatever you are entertaining is what's going to reproduce itself physically, you know what I mean? And so a lot of the times it's actually our greatest fears that come into our existence and screw us over. But it's our fear. And why that's important to understand is a lot of the times we're actually praying for these things to happen to us because we're thinking so much upon it. You know, we're adding so much mental energy onto it. It's kind of like the saying I like to utilize, which is worry and anxiety are prayers to the devil. You know, anytime you're in high spirits, you're actually praying to God. I don't even like to use that word pray because PREY. But anyways, that's another story for another time. So, in being in a state of um, despair, we will say, my energy was being drained. Like it was getting sucked out of me. And you gotta understand, that's like the thing. When you allow yourself to be open like that, you like I previously stated, you invite certain demonic forces. It's not even that you're inviting them, but it's like you're walking into their neighborhood. You know, you're walking into their neighborhood. And if you are not spiritually equipped and you don't have knowledge, then it'll be the equivalent of physically going into a dangerous neighborhood without any weapons, or going into the wilderness where you know there are wolves and not being prepared. You know what I mean? That's like what you're doing when you go into these esoteric locations without protection. Okay. So now that you know that, right? Now you got to go out and learn certain techniques, you know, which of course I provide. I can teach you these things, certain techniques that will assist you in learning how to redirect the currents of your mind, right? Mental energy, mental forces, because that's how you're traveling. Your mind is like a spaceship. Like I say, like, but your mind is a spaceship and it travels, and it's like your mind can be in what's that term? Inhabited, right? Your mind, which is a spaceship, can be inhabited by your soul, or it can get hijacked. And when it's getting hijacked, you're being attacked, and you're not doing a good job on protecting your energy. You know what I mean? And that's really what it boils down to. Being in locations that are heavenly, you know what I mean? Esoteric locations that are heavenly. Being in locations where the angels are at. Because if you're in locations where the demons are at, it's like spirit is everlasting because it is continuously self-sustaining, then the demiurge and everything below that is self-destructive. It is continuously eating itself. You know, like to live is to die type energy, you know what I mean? Yeah. But so those demonic forces, it's like, okay, when people interact with dark forces, right, and they utilize such dark forces to get what they want, that's why selfishness is the root of all evil. But yeah, you know, so pretty much protect understanding and learning how to protect yourself is all about being in the right mental spaces. Now, I also want to say this. Look, understanding astrology is very, very valuable. Look, this is a gun, right? And this gun is ruled by Mars, the planet Mars. So it's like, just by having that gun around me, I am not tapping into the energy of Mars. But you don't need to have a gun to tap into the energy of Mars. And I'm glad I brought up Mars, because Mars is actually important when we are speaking of protection. Look, sometimes in life, we get entangled in certain currents, you know what I mean? And when we get entangled in the Mars's current, right, what happens is, whether it's because of a transit is happening, like this has happened to me so many times, where people around me aren't aware, and then let's say Mars is like transiting through their sign, like when Mars is in Gemini, I had a couple of Geminis around me that were tweaking out, that I had to get physically, that I had to get physical with. Look, when like troubles find you, right? Whether it's as simple as you're sitting in the dark and your mind is playing tricks on you, it's probably not even your mind, it's thought forms that have, well, it's your mind, I'll say that. Because I was going to talk about thought forms, but thought forms in your mind, right? Your mind is playing tricks on you and you think you just saw a demon or a ghost, right? In scenarios like that, look, the best thing to do is be courageous. Don't be afraid. Because it's like, when trouble finds itself to you, but like you weren't looking for it or anything like that, it just found itself to you, then this is like a opportunity that was orchestrated from a higher intelligence, that's like, not that's like, but that should be perceived as an opportunity for you to exercise your courage and your bravery. Because being cowardly is like demonic. Because it's self-destructive, that's why it's demonic, you know. When you are cowardice, you are like depleting your energies, your vitality, you're depleting it to be a coward. So I'm not saying to go out and look for problems and troubles and issues, but there are certain times when the energy is just there, and it's like you have no other choice but to entangle yourself with it. How do I explain this? And this is a way of like protecting yourself as well. Okay, I think I figured out a way to explain it. When you're going through certain transits, right? Like I'm a Gemini, I have a lot of Gemini stellium. So when Mars is in Gemini and people are acting up around me, getting all aggressive for no reason around me, well, there is a reason, of course. I can't say there was no reason. You know, me being aware that Mars is in Gemini and me being aware that I'm dealing with a Gemini right now, I kind of knew that, like, yo, this is like the planet Mars coming into my life, and I have to deal with this energy right now, and I have to cultivate some iron. Look, alchemy, right? Alchemists, we go around life and we go through certain experiences, and then out of those experiences, or through those experiences, we extract certain metals. And iron is the metal connected to Mars. Aggressive scenarios bring you iron, and you need iron in your life, you know what I mean? Iron not only expresses through aggression, but through passion, through the ability to build, through the ability to strive towards your goals. So you need that. But I hope that that made sense, and I hope that I'm not going too deep or anything like that, you know. Not too deep per se, but too scattered, you know. As a Gemini, I can tend to have that issue of being scattered. But yeah, I thought it'd be important for me to discuss that as well. Like, for real. And this is just in general with all different things. It doesn't even have to be Mars. Speaking of Mars, I think I should talk about Mars's polar opposite, Saturn. Saturn and Mars, they're polar opposites because of their temperaments. You know, Mars is hot, and I think Mars is hot and wet. Yeah, because it rules Scorpio, a water sign. Is Mars hot and wet? Yeah, we'll say hot. Mars is not hot and Mars is hot and moist, like, and and then Saturn is dry and cold. And these are just the terms in astrology, yo. I didn't make these terms up. Well, my mind, of course, is gonna think hot and moist. Funny, but anyways, dumb. Yeah, you know. So, Cap Saturn is actually where fear comes from, where doubt comes from, where anxiety comes from. But then Mars is where that bold energy comes from, the courageous energy comes from, you know what I mean? That confidence, that assert, it's just bravery and courage, you know. It's like not being afraid. And okay, Mars rules Aries, and Aries is represented by the ram for good reason. Mars spelled Sarm. Damn, that's deep. You guys think that Mars and Ram, they're connected for sure. But anyways, the Ram, which is connected to Aries, the planet, the sign ruled by Mars, the god of aggression and war, um, is blind. Rams are blind. Like, they're halfway blind, you know what I mean? And that lets us know that when it comes to Mars energy, aggressive energy, we can't be utilizing too much Mercury energy, which is all about thinking, thoughts. It's deep. It's a deep thing. It's important to understand astrology because astrology is just not about character reading. It's about life. And when you understand it, you can take over the world if you had enough people. Because teamwork makes the dream work, you know what I mean? But anyways, you guys, what did I say? Let me recap on what I said. Essentially, when it comes to protecting yourself, you have to focus on the mind and the heart, or the soul and the mind, you know what I mean? And you have to ensure that you are creating the right emotions and creating the right thoughts. And as a result of having the right emotions and having the right thoughts, you are going to be protected and you are going to be safe. It's kind of like that moment when you start to be afraid and you start to be scared, you welcome those energies in. Like I was talking in the beginning of the video, it's all about your esoteric location. And if you're in a higher vibration, it's kind of like those forces that wish to taunt you and fuck with you, they're down there, and pardon my French, they're down there, but you're on a higher pedestal, it's like they can't really get to you or touch you. I remember I was around 17, and I was in a real bad environment, like neighborhood, and I remember I was walking outside, and it was like 2 a.m. I do these things because I know I'm protected and I know I'm safe. It's just crazy, but it's just true. And so there was this guy, and maybe he was on drugs. He probably was on drugs, and he started like flipping out over me. Flipping out over me. And of course, I had money and this and the third and the fourth, so I was kind of cautious and kind of hesitant about, like, okay, 17-year-old me, right? And then like there's way older dude tweaking out middle of the night, and so then, like, he wanted to like mess with me, but somehow, some way, it was like he couldn't. And then as I'm walking away, he starts throwing like big ass rocks. I'm talking rocks at me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still just walking like calm as fucking in peace. And it's because I was able to feel like the angels. I was able to feel those motherfuckers around me. I promise you, you know what I mean? But it's like if I start to be afraid, then it's like because things in the spiritual plane kind of happen faster, and it was like I would have like dissipated that connection with those angelic forces, and then like, you know, and then like the light would have left and the darkness would have just consumed me type energy. Now, sometimes when you're going into a dark space, right, it's of value to learn how to get good at visualization, because what you visualize actually exists and happens in the mental plane, and everything that happens in the mental plane translates into the physical plane. So learning to visualize, get good at visualization, and then learn how to visualize like certain light around you. Like let's say gold. Gold is a real like great color to visualize around you, because the energy of gold is like the energy of the sun. You feel what I'm saying? It's like the energy of, like, it's like purity. I want to say, like, gold is just a very like pure color. Or you can just visualize white light, right, which is even pure. But then there are other times, right, where, let's say you're going into, let's say you're walking through a park, right, and if other states are like Arizona, most of these parks are like, camping centers, right, for people who are on drugs, you know, the homeless, which it's a real, it's a serious problem, a serious issue, you know, and it's yeah. Anyways, let me not even get into that right now. Going into spaces like that, rather than having a bright light, like I've experimented with this, and it's worked, right? You can visualize dark light, so like a dark fog or a dark light surrounding you. And it's kind of like a cloaking device. Like you're going into darkness, so you cloak yourself to fit in with the darkness. Now, I think this is a little bit more advanced though, like, because you are kind of dealing with darkness. Like, you know what I mean? So the darkness might overtake you if you don't know what you're doing. So maybe I shouldn't have even shared that. But yeah, pretty much, that's that. Now, another thing you can do is carry black crystals with you, or wear the color black, right? Damn, it's crazy how I was just talking about dark fog and I'm talking about black crystals. See, the thing about the color black in general is it absorbs, you know what I mean? The color black absorbs stuff. Obsidian, shungite, onyx. I'm gonna talk about obsidian, shungite, and onyx. Specifically obsidian because it's powerful. But I like shungite too. I have shungite around. It just, yeah. Anyways, I have shungite around. Shungite is very powerful. Carrying a piece of shungite with you can really help absorb negative energy, right? Which in the long term is going to help protect your energy. And then also, hold on, give me a sec. Okay, yeah, you know, wearing these 3 crystals, shungite, or just either one, wearing one of these crystals can really help decrease the amount of negative energy that you experience, or even having orgonite around you. Orgonite is a very powerful, like, contraption, you know what I mean? Because what orgonite does is it, like, neutralizes the negative space in the air. And once you start dealing with orgonite, you'll notice the effects right away. I currently don't have any orgonite, but yeah, I would highly recommend it though. It's the first time I ever got orgonite, I put it on, and I was able to feel the fact that my vibration was risen. Like, tangibly feel it. It was insane. But yeah, I would recommend getting a piece of orgonite as well for your protection. But yeah, you guys, that pretty much concludes this session, or this video. It sure felt like a session. This video, right? I hope that you got a lot from this. Hope that you can apply most of this information in your life. And also, definitely tap in with me and ask me about my services. I'll pull them up right now on the screen so you know what I offer and how I may be able to serve you guys. Definitely tap in and upgrade your spiritual game. Because when your spiritual game is lit, your physical game is lit too. Alright, peace. Namaste.